underwater robot capable of diving more than 14,000 feet.
Found some known species living at unexpected depths.
The deep sea is a strange and mysterious sight. Humans have only managed to explore about 5% of the sea.
To see the shadows or silhouettes of potential prey against the lighted waters above.
And we are still finding unique and interesting animals almost every other day. What more is hidden there? Let's find out. Number 1. The tallest sea anemone. At the Mariana Trench, researchers found something very peculiar. Lying on the seabed horizontally was a sea anemone. But it wasn't just any ordinary sea anemone. Its tentacles were nearly 6 feet long. It was taller than an average human. This only added more to the mystery. What more lies at the bottom of the deep sea? Number 2. The unusual shrimp. This one is pretty insane. The researchers spotted a shrimp that was not only glowing with a strange light, but also moving quite strangely. But that wasn't all that was peculiar about this young swimmer. The shrimp also had unusually long antennae that you can spot stretching to at least a foot long. The scientists could not explain why this shrimp in the deep dark sea was so different from the others. Number 3. The bizarre microbes. Back in 2012, a researcher went down to explore the deepest parts of the ocean. He was shocked to find life even at the bottom of the pits. There were all these strange-looking microorganisms that were thriving in the ocean about 35,000 feet below from the surface.
10,912 meters, or 35,803 feet down in a sunless world.
The sun may not be there, but these organisms did not need the sunlight. They had their special kind of photosynthesis, relying on chemicals instead to do their bidding. Number 4. Plane in ocean. Mariana Trench is one of the deepest regions on Earth, but disasters managed to pile up there too. Back in 2016, an ROV raced down to the depth of the Mariana Trench and stumbled upon something shocking. The remains of an aircraft were scattered on the seabed that were captured by the camera. Later, it was found that the aircraft was decades old, from World War II. It was the Boeing B-29 Super Fortress. The discovery proved to be quite mind-blowing, hinting that there might be many mysteries that we can solve by exploring the deep sea. Number 5. The soft amphipods. Scientists used to think that the amphipods could not survive in the deep ocean. The extreme pressure in the depths of the ocean can force the calcium carbonate to dissolve. Calcium carbonate makes up the shells of amphipods and other marine animals, since the amphipods would have been left vulnerable without their protective shells. But the scientists couldn't be more wrong about it. 36,000 feet into the ocean, they stumbled upon an amphipod sitting at the seabed with its protective exoskeleton covering its body. They were shocked. Research told them that the amphipods take in aluminum ions from their surroundings and use them to create protective armor over their shells.
It has since been found that they protect their shells using a form of aluminium armor.
The interesting thing is that these animals do not just survive in the deep sea, they are thriving. They have taken up another job and often clean the sea around them, even digesting wood if needed. Number 6. The dancing sea cucumber. This guy right here is trying to mesmerize you, and I'd say it is doing a damn good job. The animal is called the holothurian, or the sea cucumber. It has been found dancing quite a few times now, but the reason remains a big mystery. Since the deep sea holothurians are pretty far away from the humans, it becomes a hassle to study the creatures. So, all we have is this beautiful video of the animal dancing like there's no tomorrow. Number 7. The new discovery. The Chilean government brought a new robot and decided to test it underwater. Capable of going down to more than 14,000 feet into the ocean, the robot took a dive and made an astonishing discovery. Thriving in the ocean were a bunch of organisms, from small to large.
More than just enriching scientists' understanding of ocean life,
hidden in the depths of the ocean were all kinds of bizarre animals. From a sea toad that looked like a child, drew it to a squid that squirted ink the moment the robot popped into the scene. Number 8. The alien octopus. You spot that black disc? That's no random debris in the ocean. It's an animal. The disc flows down towards the seabed, only to rise upwards with a blazing speed. But that's not the disc you saw, right? The alien-like creature changed its shape, flowing its cape all around and soaring upwards. If that wasn't strange enough, it started to light up in the dark deep sea. Everyone is as confused and fascinated as you are. Nobody has a single clue what's this strange animal and how it changes shape so fast. Many are calling it a disguised alien, while others are just mesmerized by its beauty. Number 9. The Bounty of Species. A team of researchers went on an expedition to scour the part of the sea that was never explored before. They were fascinated to find the sea hosted a large number of unidentified species. The team claims that they found over 100 species that were never seen before. In the depth of the sea,
Found some known species living at unexpected depths.
many species were scattered around the seabed, minding their own business. But the ones that got into the net have put the researchers into a state of awe. The best pick out of the mix was the sea pig. It looked like a stuffed toy from the local store, but was actually a sea cucumber. It seemed as if it had short legs and a small tuft of appendages that looked like its snout. Number 10. The Deep Sea Alien. This creature that the scientists found is nothing short of scary. It looks quite innocent from a few feet away, but up close, the animal looks like an alien. Hey, the team is calling it an alien-like creature too. It was called the Phronima. You do notice its eyes, right? One cannot possibly ignore those tiny glowing eyes that look even scarier in the dark. But if you look closely, it seems as if it has short arms. It is definitely a unique find. Number 11. The Blue Light. Lake Baikal is a special place. It hosts over 2,000 species that you might not find in another place. During a trip to the lake, a group of fishermen spotted something strange. They saw a spherical blue light floating at the surface of the lake at night. The video shows the blue light moving around for a few seconds. It was never seen again. Experts think that it could be one of the bizarre animals found in the lake that remain unidentified. People are calling it a UFO floating too close to the surface. But it is safe to say that there are weird animal species that could pop up with a blue light like this at night. Number 12. Snow in the sea. Antarctica has always been a mysterious place. Be it the frozen land or the sea under all that ice, only a small part of it has been explored up till now. This clip from the depths of the seafloor in the Antarctic region tells a different story. Nearly 6,500 feet into the sea, these divers were the first ones to do it in the Antarctic Ocean. They saw a bunch of krills that dominated the sea around here. But the most interesting thing to come out of the expedition was the marine snow. It sinks from the surface, falling down into the plates of the animals as food. But researchers report that it was more thicker here than anywhere else in the world. Number 13. Lights on. In the deepest parts of the ocean, the nightmares keep getting creepier. Just like this fish that has a rather mesmerizing blue light blinking on its head. But here's the thing. The light is a little bit too close to its mouth. The prey falls into this trap, getting into the deadly grasp of its predator. There is no escaping that one. Number 14. The Nazi warship. Only recently, the scientists found something remarkable. The old warship that sunk into the sea about 50 years ago. There were 116 men aboard the ship, and only 2 survivors remain alive today. They watched as they went on a virtual tour to see the ship, bringing old memories back to the surface. They claimed that it was a bunch of bad decisions that led the ship to its terrible demise. Number 15. The strangest eel. Believe it or not, this guy is an eel. It has an inflatable mouth that can expand at the sight of a large prey. Did you look at how big its pouch-like mouth got? But here's what's shocking. This is only the young gulper eel. The adults can grow up to 3 feet long. The footage shows the eel swallowing its prey and sprinting away, leaving the crowd mesmerized by its little act. Number 16. The small feast. This may not look like much, but that's only until you look closely. The small sea anemone is munching up on a feast that made its way to the deep seabed. The muddy plains of the dark sea do not have a lot to offer to the animals. It is cold and dark. But every decade or two, a large feast reaches and gathers on the deep sea floor. So, when the food comes, this anemone isn't going anywhere. This one is eating fresh detritus, which is the brown thing on the sea floor. The scientists believe that the anemone goes into a population bust straight after diving into a deep sea feast. Number 17. The bizarre jellyfish. This jellyfish looks like it should have its own fashion show. Well, that's how it goes in the deep sea apparently. It is called the phantom jelly and was spotted about 3,000 feet into the ocean. You won't spot it on camera, but this thing is massive. Its bell spans across 3.3 feet and its ribbons can stretch up to 33 feet in length. Yep. Scientists have only spotted it about 100 times maximum ever since it was discovered way back in 1899. But whenever it pops up into the scene, they know it's going to leave them in awe. Number 18. The googly-eyed strawberry squid. This one is quite the unusual squid in the mix, but it is perfectly well adapted to its surroundings. The reason it is called the strawberry squid is because of the tiny dots on its red body that make it look just like a strawberry. But weirdly, that's not the strangest thing about this animal. It has two eyes of different sizes. One of them is quite big and bulging to peek at the shadows of prey in the waters above the deep sea.
To see the shadows or silhouettes of potential prey against the lighted waters above.
The other eye is much smaller and can spot the bioluminescence in the deep sea. It is the perfect combo, keeping it alive and thriving. Number 19. The deep sea dragon. This animal is quite a unique find that the scientists managed to capture from the deep sea. Although it is nearly 4 inches long, it has a deadly appearance and an even terrifying name. The deep sea dragon has a small photophore, a light-emitting organ that the scientists wanted to see light up. So, they gave the fish the perfect environment, replicating the one in the deep sea to see the magic show. Soon enough, the photophores lit up, tiny red and blue lights popping up into the scene. But the show wasn't over just yet. The whole fish lit up, sending its audience into a state of awe. Number 20. The deep sea shark. The researchers were busy admiring the deep sea finds when they stumbled upon a much bigger one. The shark popped out of nowhere, swirling around the deep sea and sending the researchers into a slight bit of panic. But the massive shark didn't stop there. It swam around and started checking on the submarine. The scariest thing was when it blinked right in front of the camera. That looks a lot like the human eye, but 10 times in size. Number 21. Antarctica shipwreck. About a century later, researchers stumbled upon something that they didn't even think they could find. The Endurance ship sank into the ocean on an expedition trip, while the crew escaped from the mess. But when the researchers found the ship, it was perfectly intact. The writing on the ship was visible, the stairways stood eerily straight, and the ship stood frozen in time. The conditions of the Antarctic Ocean helped preserve the giant shipwreck. Number 22. The sea creature. This animal was spotted by a bunch of fishermen as they were strolling out into the sea. It looks like a sea star, but it is unclear what it is to people. Many are calling it an alien-looking sea creature, but it could have just swam its way from the deep sea. Number 23. The finger of death. The land is not all that's frozen. Sometimes the winter stretches down into the sea and engulfs the species in its cold and deadly grasp. When the seawater freezes, its salt seeps through the ice and falls into the seawater below. The salt turns into brine and sinks into the water because it's more denser and colder than the water that surrounds it.
It's also much colder, so the seawater freezes on contact, forming what's called a brinicle.
So, what happens is that the brine freezes the moment it touches the seawater below, forming what the researchers call the finger of death. In the next 12 hours, this frozen brine keeps growing and growing, trapping any and everything that comes near it. Many animals that cannot travel as fast end up getting frozen because of this sudden invasion. Number 24. The dark oxygen. Scientists used to think that there was no oxygen in the deep sea, but recent clues have changed that view. They found a bunch of rocks in the deep sea that's rich in metallic deposits. They were called polymetallic nodules. Later, researchers also found dark oxygen in the water.
These reactions combined contribute to the creation of dark oxygen.
They think that the rocks might be performing some sort of electrolysis, but it remains unclear. Number 25. The Grand Entry. An oarfish was spotted near the beach at about 12 feet in length. The largest ever spotted nearby was when it took 16 men to hold the fish. It was 23 feet in length.
We covered a story in 1996 when Navy SEALs found a 23-foot oarfish washed up in Coronado.
Although this fish wasn't as big, the deep-sea oarfish still has a remarkable reputation of stretching up to 30 feet. The scientists don't know why the oarfish comes up to the sea or why it chooses California a lot. Number 26. The Titanic's wreck. This discovery is not something the scientists expected to find. It was nothing short of remarkable. The scientists stumbled upon a wreck that looked quite old. Upon further inspection, they found that it was the remains of the Titanic. The bacteria had left the site dry, but there were little clues and hints that would take people back to the Titanic's glory. Number 27. The Antarctic sea life. Scientists are calling this find the Lost Sea World. Deep into the Southern Ocean, about 6,500 feet, they found something that astonished them. There was a life thriving under the Antarctic ice that they did not think was possible. Apart from the giant octopus floating around, they found a colony of crabs that seemed to be going on about their day, like do daily. They believe that they can find more animals, both identified and new species in the same region. Number 28. The unexpected find. This guy wanted to explore the sea for different reasons, and let's just say he got really lucky. He went down to find treasure and definitely got his hands on some.
This diver uncovers a golden chain using his metal detector.
Using a simple metal detector, the diver spotted a gold chain lying on the seabed. He took it out to find that it was perfectly intact. The man sold it for nearly $700 in the market and made a special memory. Number 29. Treasure within a treasure. In the depth of the ocean, a few divers were lucky enough to spot a massive shipwreck from the old days. It was a Greek ship that sunk into the ocean over 2,000 years ago. Even after centuries passed by, nobody was able to discover what this group found at the shipwreck. They extracted a bronze statue, pottery fragments, and a whole bunch of jewelry from the wreck site,
including a bronze statue, pottery fragments, and a whole bunch of jewelry.
What's fascinating is that these artifacts were worth nearly $1 million. Number 30. Hitting the jackpot. How many of you can say that you took a dive into the ocean and found treasure? This guy surely can. A man was out into the sea with his friends in the hunt for treasure, and he managed to hit the jackpot. A Spanish ship had sunk into the sea, leaving behind treasure in the seabed for someone to find.
He literally couldn't contain his excitement while rummaging through the sea sand to find gold coins and gold chains, which are reportedly worth over $1 million.
This lucky group managed to find exactly that. They stumbled upon a few gold coins and a chain from tens of years ago. Can you guess how much they were worth in total? A whopping $1 million. That's right, they definitely lived the dream. Number 31. The search for gold. Decades ago, the SS Central Ship America was a massive steamboat carrying 10,000 pounds of gold. But the gold boat sank in the year 1857. The ship was never found, along with the tens of gold bars and coins that went all the way down into the sea. But more than a century later, the ship was found. A small exploration company hit the jackpot when they took to the sea and recovered nearly $150 million worth of gold. They were hit by a lot of lawsuits, but in the end, they managed to bag away about 92% of gold. I'd call that a win. Number 32. The cursed shipwreck. The Swedish warship, Mars, was probably the biggest at its time. During the Roman War, it sank into the sea, taking about 800 men along with it. For 450 years, nobody knew where the ship sank or what happened to the soldiers aboard. In 2011, divers made an astonishing discovery.
But it was also the challenge, as it were, to find the shipwreck that many other people had tried to find but actually failed.
They were able to spot the shipwreck in perfect shape. Everything was preserved. The details of the guns, the coat of arms of the king, and its enormous structure. The divers also managed to find a few silver coins, each worth $14,000. Divers claim that there were nearly 2,200,000 on the ship before it sank. It will be a feat to find them. But there was a daunting side to this exploration too. Some remains of the 800 men were also found near charred pieces of the ship. That tells a dark side to the story of this warship. Number 33. Magna Pina squid in action. The researchers discovered a massive squid coming up to 40 feet in the deep sea. But this wasn't any ordinary squid, it was an angry squid. Previously, scientists thought that this squid drags its tentacles to lure and capture its prey. But this footage shows that it is clearly not the case. The squid can be regarded as a formidable predator after seeing its aggressive behavior on screen, but obviously there is more to see. Number 34. The floating sea creature. The ROV always finds some interesting animals down in the deep sea. This one isn't any different, but what the scientists found, they were unable to identify. It looks like alien concept art, but the animal seems to be just drifting away with the current. With a massive mouth and a large head, it almost looks deadly. What do you think it is? Number 35. The plane wreck. Who knew you'd stumble upon a plane wreck under the sea? This guy surely didn't. He found the plane scattered around the seabed, with its cabin somewhat intact. There were more than 100 fatalities in the crash. The plane crash was quite fatal at the time, and this serves as a horrifying reminder of what happened decades ago. Number 36. The underwater cemetery. The researchers are working on something insane. They are building a cemetery under the sea by taking human remains and turning them into an artificial reef. The project has started, and the cemetery currently covers about an acre of land, housing 1,000 human remains.
I didn't expect to be emotional when I was down there, but it did hit me even after a year.
The team expects to expand the cemetery to nearly 16 acres of seabed and host over 250,000 people one day. What do you think about this project? Number 37. The deepest solo dive. Mariana Trench hosts one of the deepest dives for humans. This guy right here chose to go down more than 35,000 deep into Challenger Deep. This is the name of the area present at the southern end of the Mariana Trench. It makes his attempt the deepest solo dive in the whole of human history. What he saw there was a whole different story. Apart from spotting 5 different unidentified species, he also saw a plastic bag lying at the bottom of the seabed. There is really no escaping plastic, is there?
Even in one of the deepest places on Earth, Vescovo says he spotted a plastic bag and candy wrappers.
What's special about this successful attempt is that the guy took 5 dives, lasting 12 hours each, in Mariana Trench. About 4 of them were in Challenger Deep. Number 38. The mysterious purple orb. A team of researchers stumbled upon something that they couldn't explain. They found a mysterious blob tucked away in the dark. It was glowing with a purple hue, looking even more strange. Even the crab nearby was interested in getting a look at the orb. Although considered a sea slug at first, researchers claimed later that it was a sea snail. Number 39. Federal octopus. Deep in the sea, the scientists got a hold of some interesting footage. This is the pearl octopus.
The Mbari research team visited the octopus garden 14 times over the course of 3 years to learn more.
It is called as such because the animal population looks like pearls scattered on the seabed if you see them from a distance. The scientists could not figure out why there were so many at a single location. After 3 years of research and 14 dives, they found that the warmth of the hydrothermal springs served as the perfect resting spot. Number 40. The weird jelly. Researchers found a jellyfish in the deep sea, and they were left fascinated at the first glance. This animal is pretty unique. Although it is a jellyfish, it doesn't behave like the typical jellyfish in any way, nor does it have the appearance of one. It just stays in the water.
Floating there, it doesn't look like what we might think of as a normal jellyfish.
Hovering alone, waiting for the unlucky prey to come near its mouth. A lot of people are calling it the shapeshifter because of the many shapes its body transforms into as it floats in the sea. Number 41. The fascinating flyers. The deep sea holds many unique animals, but this one is simple yet extraordinary. It is called a skate that glides into the ocean like birds fly in the skies. It is quite similar to a ray, but has its own unique features that make it stand out in the sea. Being unbothered is almost in its nature, gliding past even robots above its head. That's all, folks. If you like this video, smash the like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Which creature did you like the most? What else is hidden in the deep sea? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching and goodbye.